We will rock you. Hey, I'm back, and today I thought I would go over this kind of sound design tutorial. So I had an idea. Actually, I saw something on Mixbus TV about doing this, and I liked his idea, and I think it worked well, but I thought maybe I can do something that's a little bit better. Also, I saw on some message board someone was asking, like, how can you do like a crowd sound effect? So I'm going to try to explain and show you a way to get an effect of like a crowd chanting, which is really difficult to do. So I know the only other way I know to do this is set up some mics and get like 15 to 30 people together and chant something. So hopefully this will save you time so you don't have to do that. So first I want to show you what I did. I just have a short clip of me singing here. Let me play this. Here we go. We will rock you. Okay, so not that impressive. I did it quickly, so it's not the most impressive bit of singing there, but I think you get the idea. So one of the first things we're going to do is let's go into here, and I want to use MUnison. What this will allow me to do is it'll allow me to simulate lots of voices. So if I go here, let's go to this preset, Speaking Crowd Wide. Now let's listen to the output from that. Here we go. We will rock you. And that sounds okay, but it's still not the effect we want. It doesn't sound like an actual crowd. So one of the first things I want to do is I heard a little bit of like garbling of the voice. So what I want to do is change this from 2048 as a buffer size to a higher rate. Let's try 8,192. That should make it a little bit smoother. We will rock you. Okay. Now there's some other things I can mess with too. Like let's say, for example, the pitch. I don't want to change this too much, but sometimes a little bit more will help. We will rock you. Let's try 6,000. We will rock you. Okay, that sounds a little bit better. The format sometimes can help, but I think it's okay where it is. I'll let you hear what it does. We will rock you. Default sounds fine to me. Stereo, I'm going to leave it where it is, so it's really wide. You don't need to do that, but if you want to change it, you can. If you don't want to, I understand why. And let's do one more parameter, the delay. We will rock you. We will rock you. Okay, so I moved it up a little bit. If you move it up, it'll sound a little bit looser, if that's what you want, and you can move it a little bit less. If you do it at too small of a time, like 60, it's not going to sound good, or even under 60. I would recommend 100 or more for this type of sound. So I set it at 189. So I could stop there, and I think, it's a decent crowd sound, but that's still not really what I want. To go a little bit farther, let's enable the harmonizer. Okay, so let's do a little bit less. I'll do 4, okay? And change it to chromatic. So what I want to do is I want to add some extra voices. So now what I have is this. But let's pretend I have a bassier voice. So let's move this down 1 octave, -12. Let's hear it now. We will rock you. Okay. But it's a little bit too much. I probably want to move that down. I don't want it quite as loud, so let's try this. We will rock you. Okay. I think I'm recording at the same time, so there's a little bit of crackling. I don't really want that, but whatever. Just ignore that. When you do it without recording, it won't have that, if you hear that. Next one, I'm going to also move down, maybe not quite so low. Let's try -10. We will rock you. Good. It sounds out of tune, which lots of crowds sound like anyways, but it's a little bit too loud. Let me move this down to about like here. Let's see how this sounds. We will rock you. Okay. And let's try one more. Let's move this down by, let's say, -1.
We will rock you. We will rock you.
Now, this is sounding pretty good. It's a little bit out of tune. If you don't want it that out of tune, just use different settings. And this last one I can also do like up one, for example, like this.
We will rock you.
That's sounding really out of tune. So you can do it with 4 voices. I can do it with 3 voices. You can even do 2 voices and set it however you want. But I'd like to do this just because real crowd sounds out of tune because not everybody can sing. So this kind of helps simulate that, but you don't want it up so high, so move the volume of the voices down here. So I think I'm pretty much done with this, and I think now it's okay. I think it sounds like a crowd, but I think we can do better. So let's keep moving on. You're probably wondering, like, why do you have track 2 here and it's muted? What is this? So let me play this for you really quickly. Here we go. Okay, I have it looped there, but you can hear. It's just crowd celebration. It says battle crowd celebration. I just downloaded this from YouTube. YouTube has some like sound effects that you can just download yourself. So if you want to download those, that's what I did here. It's free. I'm pretty sure it's not public domain, but it's free to use, royalty free. And you can get them wherever you want, wherever you get a crowd sound. You just need the sound of a crowd. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to find where the best crowd sound. So the beginning, it doesn't really sound good, so I'm going to move that there. And I want to move this so the 2 points of the waveforms line up there, and move this back here. And so now I'm going to use another plugin, MMorph, to like morph between, I shouldn't say morph between them. I want to blend these together. And I want to do that so the first one, my voice, has the texture of this crowd cheering. So let me open this. So I think it's in creative and morph. Here we go. So I'll set this to default. I think it's already on default anyways. And now what I want to do is I take track 2. I want to send this to MMorph here. Let me mute this because I don't want to hear this at the same time, but I'll change this to post. So the send is going from here, track 2, to the input of MMorph. And so if I play it together, it sounds a little bit different, but we're still not done yet. So I'll let you hear this. Okay, so you heard it. It still had that kind of garbled sound you heard before. That's because of the spectral setting. So I want to set this higher to 8,192 again. Should sound a little bit better. Okay, so this is almost what I want, but let's fix it a little bit. One thing, the most important thing is the ratio to get that how you want it. So maybe let's try moving it and we'll see how it changes things. To me, that sounds good. I'm clipping a little bit. Let me stick the limiter on there and move this down a few decibels. I don't want to clip anything. Next, what I want to do is mess with some of the compression settings here and maybe the tone to see if I can get a little bit closer to what I want. Okay, that's pretty good. And you can mess with this here. It makes some difference. I'll let you hear that. And then the last thing is you can mess with the attack and release, and it kind of sounds like more people. It makes it kind of looser, I should say. Let's see if I move it up here. Like this, and maybe here. Okay, so right there, I think it's sounding pretty good. It's a little bit lower in level. I'd probably boost the level up and maybe use a compressor afterwards. But I think that's basically the sound that I want. So I'll let you hear it once before all the processing and then afterwards. So before. We will rock you. After. So, there you go. Hopefully I didn't take too much time with this. If you have any questions about some of the settings, I tried to go through this with you so you could see, but lots of these settings for M-Morph, you kind of have to set by ear, and after a while you kind of get what they do. You can change this and go around. You might even want to put a reverb after this, or not. I think it's pretty good as it is. But I think one of the great things about this is you can make the crowd say whatever you want. If you have a different crowd sound, you can obviously do more things with it. You can mess with the unison, MUnison if you want. I use these settings because I wanted it to sound kind of out of tune, like a big chant in a stadium, like a sports stadium. But if you want it to sound more in tune, I would just use like -12, 0. You might even want to go higher and boost it up if you want it to sound like a woman is there as well or something. Let's see if this changes it. You can kind of hear that octave higher, but mess around with that. There's all sorts of things you can do, and there's all sorts of variations. I hope this helped you. If it did, please leave me a thumbs up and share the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and until next time, see you.